Hey everyone, Kyle once again. Welcome back to another movie review. And and this movie review concluding on my review my three-parter review for the memory of Gene Wilder. May he rest in peace. First, like I said, I reviewed Willy Wonka the Chocolate Factory, one of his most memorable roles that anyone would say. Then one of my favorite comedies, the next of him, one of my favorite comedies, Young Frankenstein. And the last one, well, even though I like Gene Wilder's performances in both of those movies, Young Frankenstein is one of my favorite comedies though, but it's not one of, but they're not one of, they're, both of them are not one of my favorite Gene Wilder movies. No. I love his roles in those movies, but they're not my favorite Gene Wilder movies. And I show you what I was going to review, and this one is one of his roles collaborating with the late Richard Pryor, which they all made a few movies together, like Silver Streak, Stir Crazy, and also what was it the last one they did together, was it Another You? But this one, I would say, is my favorite of my favorite film from Gene Wilder, and also my favorite film for Richard Pryor as well. Slash both for their collaborations as well. And that is See No Evil, Hear No Evil. Stars both of them together. Released in 1989. And also, really enough, in the film, it stars Kevin Spacey as well. Really enough. And also that the film was directed by a guy named Arthur Hiller, who also directed Silver Streak as well. And also, oddly enough, before Gene Wilder passed away, the director Arthur Hiller passed first, shortly before Gene Wilder passed away. Really enough, and I was like, okay. When I first heard who the director was, okay, and then really enough, Gene Wilder passed away shortly after that. It's like, okay. For this film, the guy who directed Silver Streak and See No Evil, Hear No Evil, that also starred Gene Wilder, and also really enough, Gene Wilder passed away. So, but I love this movie. It's another fantastic comedy, and it's my favorite. It's my favorite film for both Richard Pryor and for Gene Wilder, and of all the films they did star together, this is still my favorite of mine. And I would agree on the back here by variety, funny physical comedy. I definitely agree on that. Um, it was, and I really, if it was a modest box office success overall. It made like 18 million. It made 46, cost 18 million. Then it made 46 million in the U.S. So it was a modest hit. And this a comedy was because in this, if anyone know, I'm sure people who know the film knows about it, but anyone who doesn't, in the film, Richard Pryor is plays Wally Carew, and he's blind. And Gene Wilder plays Dave Lyons, and he's deaf. Of course, it plays the thing of blind and deaf, and it's a comedy I thought really it worked really well, and I'm playing on both those aspects, and it continued out all through the movie. And the laughs I thought were funny. Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor, they did really well together on the film, and it's another fun comedy film. I think it's an excellent comedy, and Gene Wilder, I know, may rest in peace. He'll be missed, and it's the same with Richard Pryor. He was another great comedic actor as well. But and then both these guys, as there's a dead body, they end up with a murder, and they're on the run from the police as they try to clear their names to find the real criminals. So it opened, and how the comedy works. Okay, it opens up, in New York City. You see Gene Wilder walk in, and he stops, and he's deaf though, so he doesn't hear a truck coming towards him. And he's honking the horn, he can't hear, and he says, "What are you, deaf?" And as he turns the corner, and Gene Wilder sees the guy. He's like, for what do they say? He calls him like dumb asshole, and he's talking to the guy, but you see Richard Pryor behind Gene Wilder, and he thought he was talking. He thought that Gene Wilder was talking to him because he's blind, and he thinks he's talking to him. It's like, what did you say? And Gene Wilder, who he's talking to the truck driver, you're the dumb asshole, and Richard Pryor's like, okay, no, you are, F you, fuck you, Well, I'm just going with what he said from the film. So, but, and also I like really enough that it's an R-rated. Funny, it's an R-rated film. Usually, like, some comedies, they're like PG-13 or something like these, but I liked it when it was very hard. It made it a lot more funny especially when Richard Pryor, he's the one who swears the most. It just made me laugh. He's like, come on, you son of a bitch, So, and in the film, Richard Pryor as Wally's with his sister, and is the thing that he tries to make it think he's not blind, like he's trying to read the newspaper, but he's actually holding it upside down. And as mentioned, says he passed for 20/20 vision when you're blind as a bat. And then another funny moment where we on that part right there where his sister's talking to him, and he says when he passed for the 20/20 vision part, he says I have to pass, and she says it's a sickness in your brain. It just makes it like if you're trying to pass for white, and I like how his reaction was like, I'm not white. You mean I'm not white? Why don't you tell me? Does Dad know? And he's like, he feels like this. It feels white. And then he feels his hair. He's like, you're right. Richard Pryor was just hilarious. So, and he wants to. He like goes his race, and he puts a bet on a horse, the horse racing, and he loses it, and then it shows with Gene Wilder, who works at a newsstand, and Richard Pryor, he's looking for a job, and there's one part where his sister drops him off, and he's on the street with the crosswalk, and there's another blind guy. He says, "Can you help me cross?" He says, "Sure." Wait for the beeps, and as they're walking, but they actually walk on this ramp, one of those trucks, that has the lowering ramps. They both are behind. They just continue to walk into the truck. But then he goes and then where he comes to meet Gene Wilder, and look for a job, and he says, and like first Richard Pryor's like talking right here, but when like Richard Pryor's looking right here. But really, the Gene Wilder is like right here, and he's like, "Are you talking to me?" And this is because he's deaf and he's blind, and like Gene Wilder knows that he's blind. He's like doing this, and he's like, "Are you blind? Are you that blind?" It's like, "Yes, man, I'm blind. What are you, deaf?" And then Gene Wilder's like, "Yes, I'm fucking deaf." Deaf. Oh, because can I have the job now? So, and then they go for, and he asks Gene Wilder to go for a drink at a bar, and Gene Wilder he gets like a little trouble with this guy who's like sandals on his coat, and he calls him names, and Richard Pryor wants to step in to defend him, and wants to ends up getting in a fight with the guy. Tries to punch him, and like before with Gene Wilder, like he's holding him, he's like circle left, or circle right, and he gives like the clock directions where to punch, like 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock. That was another funniest thing where it's like, and he's like, Dave, where are you? And then Gene Wilder gets with another guy. He's like, read my lips, asshole. I can. It's like, oh, what was it? Yes, he goes like, yes, I can, and then goes and punches another guy. They're both fighting both guys, and then it cuts to them. They're sitting down and they're having ice cream, and Richard Pryor goes and puts the ice cream on Gene Wilder's head. And then comes later, or the next day, when Richard Pryor is working, and he's outside. He's outside of the building waiting for the newspapers, and Gene Wilder is back on the newsstand, and then the guy comes in, says that he's Wally's bookie, and is about to leave. He sees our bad guy, a woman. What was her name? Joan Severance. Joan Severance, I think that's her last name is, and she tells him, he wants the coin that this gold coin they bought, and he puts it in the cigar box but she didn't see it, and he tries to take the gun, but she shoots him, he dies, and Richard Pryor hears the noise, and as she leaves, Gene Wilder looks back and looks at her legs, and Richard Pryor comes and is like, what the hell was that? And he trips over the dead body, and Gene Wilder sees it, and the cops come. They're like, Wally, there's a gun. Do you have it in your hand? Yeah. Get rid of it. Throws it and it goes off. And then they're both arrested. And then you get another really funny scene where when they're being interrogated, by Captain Braddock, played by Alan North. He's like, okay, he's like, let's cut the bullshit, shall we? Was there a woman present? And he's like, they don't know who he's talking to because he's blind, he's deaf. And he's like, and Richard was like, oh, you talking to me? Yes, I'm talking to you. Did you see a woman present? He's like, I smell the woman, but I didn't see a woman. And he's trying to talk. And he's talking to Gene Wilder, and Richard Pryor's like, he's deaf. You have to be facing him. All right, well, no more clowning around. Wasn't there a woman? And Gene Wilder's like, are you serious? Bitch, I'm goddamn serious. And he's like, Fuzzy was a woman? And he's like, he's asking what's wrong with him. He's like, he's deaf. You're talking too fast. He reads lips. You're talking too fast. And he's trying to do it slow. Was there a woman present? And he's saying, and Gene Wilder is doing it back and slow as well. Yes, there was a woman present. and then the captain or whatever, and he's like, what is wrong with him? He's like, he's dead. Rich Pryor is doing the same thing, like, he's deaf, not stupid. And you see Gene Wilder kind of smirk about that. And then the I was calling him Captain. I was calling him that. And he's like, don't tell me what you didn't hear what he saw, and you tell me you didn't see what he heard, and there he's doing the both of his, and he's getting all mixed up, and it's frustrating him. So, and then the part where Gene Wilder is trying to stand to get his mugshot taken, and he's standing like this though, but his head is turned to Richard Pryor, and the woman's like, face the camera, don't move, and he's still moving and talking, And Richard Pryor is like, yeah, face the camera. Oh, psst, don't move, don't move. And it's frustrated the woman to take the picture, and when she snaps the shot when it messed up, it's like shit, shit, shit. And then Gene Wilder's like, did you say ship or shit? And he's like, it's like it's weird that she would say ship, ship, ship. It doesn't make any sense. And then it cuts to our female woman, by Joan Severance, and then you get to with Kevin Spacey. Really enough, Kevin Spacey did a good job as the bad guy, well as did Joan Severance. I mispronounced the last name. They both did good as the villains, and especially Kevin Spacey. I just find it funny that you see Kevin Spacey with a mustache. I just kind of find that funny. Although in the film he has like this sort of, if anyone noticed, he has this weird bump on his right part of his left face. I don't know if it was there for the movie. I don't know what was that part. You just notice it right there. And these hosts they know that they're both of them in jail, so they want to try and bail them out, and they talk to them while they're in the jail, and as they leave, Gene Wilder notices it's the same woman because he notices by her legs, and they get the PlayStation. They trick the two cops, and as they're out on the street, and like Richard Pryor wants to get Gene Wilder to stop his feet so that he can try to walk without guiding him, and Gene Wilder's like, I feel ridiculous. You're doing fine to me. So then the two bad guys see them, and they get the gold coin, and she goes to make the call to the guy who's their boss, basically, Mr. Sutherland, who's the name. And like Gene Wilder, because he says he reads his lips, he's trying to make out what she's saying. And as they're gonna leave, and then Gene Wilder says, "Do we get a last request?" And Joan, let's call her Joan, says, "No, okay. What would you want?" He says, "Will you scratch my nose?" And she does, and she gives him a kiss, and he's like, "You're a sick woman. Thank you." And then she turns to Richard Pryor. It's like, Mr. Carew, what would you want? And he goes and says, I suppose a fuck is out of the question. Afraid so. And he gives like this. So, Kevin Spacey is about to shoot them, and then they do the thing where like the 12 o'clock to punch Richard Pryor gives him a couple punches, and then they run off and they get into a police car, which I thought was a really fun car chase. Because Richard Pryor's at the wheel and Gene Wilder is trying to guide him. Like right, no, left, and the part was like, he's also like, these streets are bumpy. You're driving on the sidewalk. And then he's like, cows, and they run through all this racks of meat. And it's like, we're in a warehouse, and you hit a cow. I suppose we should back up. So the car chase was fun. I had fun with the car chase, because Gene Wilder trying to guide Richard Pryor, just go which way, and like the cops and the bad guys are chasing them as well. So, and then one leads to another. They end up driving off, and they end up to a garbage barge, and then later they try to to hide in a car in a water ditch, and and they both like get a fight. It's like, go, I'm getting tired of the Rich Pryor's like, I'm tired of all this this deaf bull crap, and you wouldn't tell if you heard me if I screamed in your ear. He's like, I don't know, I never tried that before. Go ahead, I want you to do it. And he starts screaming in his ear, and he's like, Jewel's like, oh, Wally, I heard something. I heard you. And he's like, you can hear me, Dave? And he's like, no, schmuck, I am deaf. So, and then as they're pushing the cars, and he's saying, like, oh, You're blind, right? And then Gene Wilder's getting to him about him being blind, and it's like, well, I'm blind because of some asshole drunk who drove me into a fire hydrant, and I'm blind for life, and the guy only gets a 6 month suspended sentence. Fuck him. And then Gene Wilder's like, you swear an awful lot. You fucking ain't right. And then Gene Wilder goes, well, fucking A. If something goes wrong, you fuck it. Your wife leaves, fuck it. You know, fucking A. The Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor, they work so well together. I mean, like, Silver, like, I like the Silver Streak though, but I thought Silver Streak was decent though, but I think this is the best. These two together to give their best performances. How they make their comedy work together. So, especially because when they're talking about his blindness and him being deaf, it was just such great. I would say it was basically a treat to see. Basically, and I hardly use that word though, but just to me it is. You know, two great comedic actors, and especially in an R-rated comedy, it was nice to watch. So, and then they get help of Wally's sister to help them, and the police are on them, but they manage to lose them in this motel by hiding a ventilation system. They get to the proper destination where the bad guys are at, which Gene Wilder thought it was Gracious George, but it was it's a resort called Great Gorge. So they see they see where the bad guys are at. Like, they're holding Gene Wilder up on a ladder to see where they're at, and when the sister leaves, Gene Wilder goes flying back. So they get to the hotel, and in the moment where Richard Pryor waits outside while Gene Wilder goes and gets the coin, and where the coin's at this sack. He's in the bathroom where Joan is showering, so he gets it, and then she sees him come out of the shower reaching for it, and he's like, "Here you go," and then he didn't say anything, but just gives it to her and just makes her put it back. And when she comes out of the bathroom, and he's like, sticks his hand in his pocket, like, hold it right there. And he's like, put your hands, pull up, makes her drop her towel, because she's still naked. And he looks at her, and he's like, you're good. And he kisses her, and he says, this is the best relationship I had with a woman in 8 years. And as he leaves, like, so long, sweetheart. And he's still, as he takes his hand out of his pocket, he's still the thing in his what you can tell is that he has a bone right there in his pants still. and she looks as he leaves. And so then they have to get Richard Pryor because he's been the people in the hotel think he's this Swedish doctor at this convention, and Gene Wilder has to get him out. And while this is going on, the sister gets taken because she's trying to make a distraction, to get Kevin Spacey out by hitting his car. But they catch on to who she is, and they take her to Mr. Sutherland's place, and that's where the next destination to go to. So as they get there, they see that she's tied up in this greenhouse. While Richard Pryor goes to take a leak, the parking brake's not on, so the car starts rolling, and Gene Wilder is on top of the car. And it starts as it goes back. It goes around. It hits I would say a little bank, I would say, and then he goes flying, but he's all right. Then they get to the greenhouse where Richard Pryor whistles to distract the dogs. He gets to the greenhouse, but Gene Wilder sees the dogs coming for him, but he throws some peanut butter, and Wally's sister is telling him there's an alarm, but she's a guy though, but he can't hear because so he goes and breaks the window as the alarm goes off. He's like this, and she's like. So then they get caught. The sister manages to escape to get the police. So, but Richard Pryor is taken to Mr. Sutherland first with Kevin Spacey, and they learned that the coin is it's not a gold coin, and the guy who Mr. Sutherland reveals that it's a superconductor, and it's like a room. This is at the room temperature superconductor, and it's like a very valuable piece of material, and it's like it can ignite an entire city. So I think this like material is like somewhat of a kind of an explosive thing. Even though the whole thing, this whole thing, they're trying to get over this gold coin. I thought I'm not that too bright on that over this big fuss over this gold coin, but even though it's not though, but it's not gold coin, but just saying the whole chase to get their hands on this gold coin. I'm not that too intrigued on, but I did thought was pretty interesting is that this bad guy, Mr. Sutherland, he also happens to be blind as well. Because it didn't because like first couple times you saw him, you didn't see his face though, but what made it interesting to reveal that he was blind is that he slowly gets his gun underneath his desk, and he turns off the lights, and he shoots Kevin Spacey, and reveals that he is blind, because Richard Pryor says because he had a little bit more senses when he knew that the lights were being turned off, and he says he needed to turn on the lights to gain the advantage to hear where Kevin Spacey was, and he's like Richard Pryor's like I got a feeling that I'm not the only guy in here who is blind. So I thought the reveal how the main bad guy was blind was pretty interesting. I did like that though. And of course you get the thing, where since they're both blind, they try to shoot each other, and of course one point where they're in their each other, they have each other inside though, but they go right past each other. You see that in comedy films, like when they're trying to get one another, like one's trying to find it, but one's right behind them, but they don't notice it. That kind of thing. So yeah, they both, there's one point where they're right in each other's faces, but they don't go past each other. Yeah, and they're trying to shoot each other, but Gene Wilder is brought in by the woman, and Mr. Sutherland is trying to do the same negotiation trick to with Kevin they did to Kevin Spacey when he shot him. And Richard Pryor is like on the floor, his nose that he's trying to tell Gene Wilder that the guy is lying. He's like, but rather the woman is smart enough to know. So as he about to turn off the lights again, she goes and straight up shoots him right away. And the guy sends the guy flying through the window and off this part of the cliff where the house is at. So she managed to get the coin, manages to escape, and since she's going to get to the helicopter, so they plan both each other to going to reach down to her time. They swing off of this cable, and Richard Pryor's like, hopefully we're not that high because I'm scared of heights. And as they're zipping down the line, and they hit a tree, and Richard Pryor's like, I just knocked over a tree. You said that we weren't that high. I'm gonna kill you. Ah! And Richard Pryor drops on the woman as Gene Wilder gets on this other guy. And then the cops come. They both get arrested. The bad guys get arrested. And the sister comes in, and another funny part where the captain comes in, and yeah, he was the captain because Richard Pryor says he was a captain, and I love the funny where Richard Pryor says like, Captain Braddock, you're a dickhead, and then the captain says because he wants to shoot them so badly. He's like, well, I got a surprise for you now. Now I get to shoot him. And then the other cop that was with them, he says, no, we got the real bad guys. You can't shoot them. And the captain's like, what? I want to shoot them. But I want to shoot them. I want to shoot them. So, and then it ends with both of them, Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor, they're both sitting at the same spot where they were eating ice cream, and Gene Wilder first he wanted to do the same thing we did to him first, but Richard Pryor did to him first, and then Gene Wilder then did the same thing to him, and it ends with them, both sitting there with ice creams on their head. So, yeah. So, the movie, See No Evil, Hear No Evil, I love this movie. It's another fantastic comedy. Even though it's my favorite film, with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor, though, Young Frankenstein is still one of my favorite comedies. So because I grew up, and that's more on my list of my top 10, if on my top 10 favorite comedies, because I grew up with more of the movie more that I saw with this film, though. But regardless, though, even though Gene Wilder did great, excellent, fantastic in Young Frankenstein, though, this one is my favorite, though, because him, with his collaboration with Richard Pryor, they both work so well together. Like, the comedy was all throughout the movie. It didn't just stop and stop, start and stop, start and stop. It was still throughout the movie, and they worked so well together. And now it's now they're now both passed away because Richard Pryor died back in was 2005. But still, it's still that sad to miss Richard Pryor, and now Gene Wilder's now passed away. I miss them both. This is why it's my favorite of both of them working together. More than Silver Streak or Stir Crazy, or definitely more than Another You. I think Another You was not that great though, but I like Silver Streak. But this one was definitely my favorite. It's definitely my favorite for Richard Pryor. Definitely my favorite for Gene Wilder. Because basically because the comedy was because they both worked so well together. Playing on the part out because he's deaf and he's blind, and the comedies on those aspects was so funny. And then but fortunately though, critics didn't like it. Even though Roger Ebert said it was a dud. It has an 18% Rotten Tomatoes, which I'm sorry, I give it a much higher rating. I would probably give this the same. Well, no, well, actually, because Young Frankenstein has a 92% Rotten Tomatoes, so I would give it a much higher rating than 18%. I would give it. If I would be fair, I would give it at least like a 75 or up to 80%, in my opinion. But at least the film does have a decent rating on IMDb. It has a 6.8, so it wasn't people on IMDb didn't think it was that bad. They thought it was pretty good. But I would give it like a 7.5 on IMDb. I would think though, but. Yeah, it's made me think that how much I love Young Frankenstein though, but it's because that's a Gene Wilder. I didn't say for Young Frankenstein or Willy Wonka were my favorite performances from Gene Wilder though, because I think it's more my favorite for this because him working with Richard Pryor made the film work so well, and that's why I think it's my favorite film for both these two guys. And they're both such great comedic actors, and they will be missed though. But that's why how these two worked so well together, because for the comedy, both the aspects because one's blind and one's deaf. How the scene where he's trying to get him to punch, left circle right, left, 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, or when in such a fun car chase, Gene Wilder guy and Richard Pryor, turn right, turn left, you're on the sidewalk, And a little banter when they're trying to hide the car, about him being blind and how him being deaf. The bad guy is Kevin Spacey. I thought he did a good job as well, and I would say for Joan, Joan's Severance as well. And the guy who played Mr. Sutherland, Anthony Zerbe, which I've seen in another movie before. That was in Star Trek Insurrection. He was the admiral that was working with F. Murray Abraham. Yeah, it was him Star Trek Insurrection as the Admiral. And I thought I saw him another film as well though, but I can't remember. I thought the character with Mr. Sutherland, I thought it was kind of interesting how he was also blind as well. I thought it was very interesting. Even though the whole situation with the gold coin was not much though, but that doesn't bother me though, because I love this movie, and I'm not gonna let that doesn't ruin the movie for me, because the comedy was fun all throughout the movie. It didn't stop. It was completely funny from beginning to end. And this it's just sad though. It's such a great comedy. It didn't deserve 80% Rotten Tomatoes. And I love the fact that it's an R-rated. They made it to an R-rated comedy, which made sense. Unlike some comedies of today are PG-13, although you do get a few R-rated comedies like the ones like Seth Rogen movies like The Interview or This Is the End or Neighbors. Those like dealing with the crude humor though, but this type of comedy had nothing like those films. No, especially those films are nothing like a comedy that this did back in the day. It wasn't dealing with that type of humor. This film was a good old fashioned I would not say slapstick comedy though, but I would say pretty like fairly normal comedy. Just because an aspect of one's blind, who's deaf, which is it's not like a subject like that. It's not that happens like today. Although there was another comedy that I haven't that I want to review sometime down the road. It's another comedy. It's called Murder by Death. But because there's a little part where there's a butler and there's the maid who is also blind and is also deaf as well. And the butler is played by Alec Guinness, by the way. So yeah, they got that part though, but they were the main stars though. But there was also the comedy aspect, and that was done years before this film was made. So, but the fact this film was actually these two they were the stars of it. So, but yeah, I love this movie. This is why I would say it's my favorite film with Gene Wilder as well as Richard Pryor. And now hoping and it sucks. Now, hopefully they'll both, even though Richard Pryor passed years prior to Gene Wilder, though, still may Richard Pryor rest in peace, and now it's goes the same for Gene Wilder now. So, I hope you enjoyed my little memory reviews for the late great Gene Wilder. May he rest in peace. The films he does, all the comedy stuff he's done, will always live on. Especially for roles like Willy Wonka, Young Frankenstein, this film, even for the ones like what was that Haunted Honeymoon that he directed as well. Then he had a little role like Bonnie and Clyde. Then Silver Streak, Still Crazy, Another You with his collaborations with Richard Pryor, which I still say this is my favorite of both of them, as well as their movies. But it sucks though. Two comedic legends that are now past. But hope you'll enjoy this review. And this will conclude my little tribute to the memory of Gene Wilder. May he rest in peace. And also, just really enough to end this all off, it just occurred to me that this is like around this time right now that I've been doing my channel for about 3 years now. Really enough. I just thought of it just now, and I realized I've been doing all this stuff for about 3 years. It's amazing. And I hope to continue doing this for like a few. Well, yeah, I would say for a few more years. I would say. But I just want to say thanks to everybody for watching me for going on now 3 years. It's amazing. I just want to say thanks to everybody for watching, and hopefully we'll keep on watching. And now we got October coming up, which means more reviews for horror films. Yay! And I said one of those things I will be reviewing for the month of October when I show you my poster for the Purge election year that I got, which that will be hung up right there. And when I get the DVD, I will review the Purge trilogy and a few other ones. And some other ones, maybe things based on just for the month of October or whatever. So yeah, the month of October is just right around the corner, especially for Halloween. And I will say also I got to get reviewing the sequels to Alpha and Omega. Got those. So And it's got a lot of stuff to do for the month of October, and including the reviewing the sequel to Alpha and Omega. So it's got just to do what reviews I would choose to do. But don't worry, if I don't get to whatever ones, what are the ones I said I would. But don't worry, I will get to those. So just want to quickly point that out, though. But hope you enjoyed my review for my tribute to the memory of Gene Wilder. See no evil, hear no evil. You can check back on Willy Wonka and Frankenstein if you want to. But may rest in peace. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.